Hi there. Let me ask you something. If I said to you, if I had studied hard, I would have passed, would you be able to tell me what really happened? Most English learners memorize conditionals, but still get confused when they need to use them. Today, I will make conditionals so easy to understand that you will never have to second guess them again. So let's get started. The first type of conditionals are called generic factual, that are scientific truths. Okay? The structure is as follows. If, remember, all conditional sentences start with the word if, because it's a condition. If follows by present tense and present. So example, if you heat rice, it melts. If plants don't get water, they die. If you mix yellow and blue, you get green. So these are all factual statements. They cannot be debated. If the sun sets, it gets dark. Nobody will debate it. It's a fact. So that's the first type. Let's practice, okay? I need you to complete the following sentences. There are 5 of them. If you heat metal, comma, it. Fill in the blanks. I will wait for you to finish the exercise, then I will show you the answers. Okay, pause the video now. All right, if you heat metal, it expands. If people eat too much sugar, they gain weight or they can feel sick. If water reaches 0 degrees Celsius, it freezes. If you drop a glass, it breaks. If the temperature rises, ice melts. These are all scientific truths. Proven, right? Okay, so the second type is habitual. These are habitual conditionals, repeated behavior. Things that people regularly do, they're in the habit of doing that. Again, the structure is the same. If you notice, if, because all conditional starts with if and followed by present tense. If I wake up early, that's in present simple, I go for a walk. So simple present tense twice. First in the conditional sentence, and then the following sentence. If Sarah cooks dinner, John washes the dishes. If Tom studies late, he drinks coffee. So that happens always. If my phone rings at night, I ignore it. So this person does not like to answer the phone at night. If my dog hears thunder, he hides. So the dog is scared of thunder. All right, so let's practice now. So you've learned 2 types of conditionals, okay? The first one was factual, the second is habitual. Let's see how you do it, right? So for each question, I've given you 2 choices. I need you to pick one and complete the sentence. Pause the video now and practice habitual conditionals. Okay, how did you do? If Maria feels tired, she drinks tea. If my brother cooks dinner, I wash the dishes, right? So they take turns. So, oh, you're cooking, I'll wash the dishes. If we visit grandma, she makes soup. If my teacher asks a question, I answer. Okay? How did you do? Did you do well? All right, so far so good. Let's move on and learn the third type. Inference conditionals. These are logical conclusions. You know, we do this all the time, right? We draw a conclusion based on what seems reasonable, right? What seems logical. So some examples are, if the lights are on, someone is home. If the lights are off, if the house is dark, there are 2 possibilities. Maybe people are sleeping, it's late at night, or they've left the house. If her car isn't in the driveway, she's at work. If the baby is crying, what is the logical conclusion to draw? He or she is hungry. If the door is open, someone entered the room. All right. Now, can you complete this exercise? I need you to do a great job. Make a logical guess. If the dog is barking loudly, why do you think the dog is barking loudly? There must be a reason why, right? So complete all 4 sentences and I'll wait for you to finish it. We'll go over the answers together. Pause the video. If the dog is barking loudly, apparently someone is at the door, right? Maybe the dog heard some noise. Someone is outside. If the classroom is empty, what would you conclude? Well, class is over or was over and the students left. If the streets are flooded, it rained heavily. If the phone battery is dead, it cannot be turned on. The phone cannot turn on. It's dead. You need to charge it up. Okay. All right, next up. Explicit inference conditionals must and should. These express very strong conclusions. Like, if the lights are off, they must be sleeping. The door is locked, someone must have left. If Anna studied all night, she must be tired. If the restaurant is full, the food must be good. So it's all of these are past inferences. If he was there yesterday, he must have seen the accident because the accident happened yesterday. Okay. All right, fill in the blank. Okay, the three questions, three sentences, if you will. If the baby is crying, comma, she blank hungry. Can you complete the sentences? There are three of them. Pause the video now. Okay, these are all must be, right? If the roads are empty, it must be late into the night, like maybe 2 a.m. If the students look confused, the lesson must be difficult or confusing lesson. Very good. Let's move on. A fifth type of conditionals, right, is future conditionals. These are all real possibilities, but in this case, the structure changes slightly. If is followed by present tense, present simple, and the following sentence has simple future, right? If you study tonight, so if you study tonight, that's in the present tense, comma, you will pass the test. If it rains tomorrow, comma, we will cancel the picnic. Because if it rains, then we will not be able to go out. If she arrives early, comma, we will start the meeting. If they call me, comma, I'll answer immediately. If we save money, comma, we will travel next year. Okay, so the structure is simple to understand, right? It's very easy. If present tense in the first clause followed by a future tense. Okay, all right. This should be easy for you now. Now that you understand the rule completely, you should be able to complete these sentences. There are 4 of them. If I finish work early, I blank go to the gym. Okay, let's have some fun doing this exercise and do your best. Okay, I will wait for you to finish. I will go to the gym. If they invite us, we will come. If it snows tonight, school will close tomorrow. If she practices daily, she will improve, right? Okay. A 6th type is hypothetical conditionals. Hypothetical means they're not real. They are all unlikely situations. But notice the tense is in the past. If plus past tense, and the following sentence has would. So if I had $1 million, I would buy a beach house, right? If I were a bird, I would fly away. If she knew the answer, she would tell us. If we lived in Paris, we would eat croissants every day. If I spoke Japanese, I would work in Tokyo, Japan. If they had more time, they would travel. Okay? This should be clear to you, right? These are all hypothetical conditionals. Now you have learned another type of conditionals. Now it's time for you to practice. I am not going to give you the answers this time because I need you to learn by practicing. I need you to create sentences. Write sentences using if I had more free time, if I lived on the moon, if I owned a private jet, what would you do? All right? I've given you one sample example. If I had more free time, comma, I would read more books. Okay? Write these sentences, complete all three of them, and write them in the comments if you want. I read your comments, personally. I take your work very seriously, and I will respond to all of them. All right. Okay. There's another type of conditionals. They're called counterfactual conditionals, like impossible past, things that didn't happen. Okay? Notice the tense is past perfect. Had done, right? Had taken, or if I had eaten. So if plus past perfects followed by would have. So if you understand the structures, you will never get confused using the conditionals in English. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the test or the exam. But what does it really mean? Can you understand the context? The person, the speaker of this sentence, did not study harder. Maybe he took the exam lightly. I thought, I'll pass, I know. And then this person failed the exam. So now he or she regrets. He says, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. If she had left earlier, she would have caught the train, but she missed the train. So she was late to the meeting or late to work. If they had invested earlier, they would have made money. If he had seen the sign, we would have stopped. If Harry had woken up earlier, he would have caught the bus. But Harry, slept in and he woke up late, like, oh my God, and then he couldn't catch the bus, right? Because he slept too much. Very good. Now let's practice something very interesting. Harry's bad day. So there was a chain reaction. This is a chain reaction exercise. So Harry, what happened? Harry woke up late. We just talked about Harry, right? He slept too much. He rushed out, left the house. He forgot to lock the door. He missed the bus. He arrived late at work. His boss fired him. He lost his job because he was so late. The boss got angry. A burglar entered his apartment and robbed. Okay. So what I need you to do is I need you to write conditional sentences using Harry's bad day, the whole situation. All right, pause the video, write complete sentences, conditionals, and then I'll check. Okay? Fix Harry's day. If Harry had locked the door, what would have happened? If Harry had caught the bus, right, what would not have happened? Would or would not? If Harry had arrived on time, if Harry had not rushed, complete the sentences, okay? Here you go. If Harry had locked the door, he did not lock the door, remember? So the door was open, or the door was just left ajar. A burglar entered the house, right? The burglar would not have entered. If Harry had caught the bus, he would not have been late. If Harry had arrived on time, his boss would not have fired him. He would have kept his job if he had arrived on time. But he didn't, so he lost the job. If Harry had not rushed, he would not have forgotten the door, or he would not have forgotten to close the door, right, before he left his house. All right. If you find any of these explanations difficult or confusing or difficult to understand, please ask questions in the comments. Here's a final mixed practice for you. If I blank and see the word in parentheses, use the correct tense, correct verb tense, and complete the sentences. Okay? Pause the video now. It's a final practice for you to solidify what you learned today. Okay, if I had wings, remember? I would fly. This is in the past. If she studies tonight, future tense, she will pass. If we had left earlier, we would have arrived on time. If water reaches 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. Did you get all of them correct? If not, it's no problem. Remember, you're learning, so it's okay to make mistakes. Okay, So let me leave you with a comment challenge. A factual conditional, a hypothetical conditional, and a counterfactual conditional. I need you to write 3 sentences using these conditionals. Okay? And one example is, if I had studied Spanish earlier, I would have moved to Madrid in Spain. I'll check your sentences, so be sure to write them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.